Hi everyone, it's Christina from Christina's Garden Life. I hope you're having a great day. Today I'm going to do a really quick video to teach you how I prune back spring blooming bulbs. So as you know, you buy lots of bulbs in the fall like tulips, daffodils, hyacinths. They bloom first thing in the spring beautifully, and then you need to cut them back at some point so that you don't have leaves everywhere. But there's a big question of when do you cut them back? How do you cut them back to promote as much growth as possible the following year? Now, some of your tulips will be annual tulips, and that's just the case of a lot of tulips over time have been bred to be really, really big blooms, but a lot of times those are more annual varieties. But if you have perennial tulips, perennial daffodils, hyacinths, anything like that that will come back the next year, you want to use this technique to promote as much growth for the next blooming cycle. So it's a really simple two-step process, but it will take 2 steps and a little bit of time in between those steps to get it right, but this will really help to promote you for success for the following year. So I'm going to show you how to do this in just a minute really quick. I'm going to show you both of the steps, but really easy to do. So the first thing you do is once your flowers have died or almost died, you're just going to cut back the stem of where that flower is. So it's just the flower and the stem. You cut it low and back so that the flower is no longer there and the stem from the flower is no longer there. And then the second step that you do is once those leaves start to die and turn yellow, you cut the leaves back. So you're going to leave the leaves on a lot longer. This takes the energy from the stem and puts it into the leaves and bulbs so that you actually have a stronger bulbs and root of the plant for the next year. So I'll show you that technique in just a minute, and let's get started. So you'll see here that we have some tulips that have definitely gone past their heyday. In here, you can't really tell, maybe you can if I get up close here, those brown stems right in front of me, those are daffodils. So daffodils are another example of things that you want to cut back. But basically what you do in the spring, as soon as your tulips and daffodils start to look like this, maybe a little bit earlier, these are looking pretty worse for wear, maybe a bit later if you like to have color for as long as possible, but that's when you're going to want to go in trim. So you can do it anywhere from, you know, a phase where it's like a pretty full tulip still to the phase where it's just looking like a stem, or maybe even a little bit longer, but you don't want to wait too much longer after that. So what you're going to do, and this is a really simple technique, what you're going to do is you just take your shears and you're going to follow the length of the daffodil or tulip or whatever spring blooming bulb you have here. Follow it down as, let me show you again, follow it down as far as you can, and then you're just going to snip and cut that back, and you're going to leave the leaves, no pun intended. So these leaves will stay, and what's going to happen there if you cut off this stem is that the plant will stop putting energy into growing this stem, and instead we'll put all of the energy into the leaves and the bulb of the plant so that it has a good growth season next year. So that's exactly what you want. Now you're going to leave those leaves on so that your garden is full of kind of cut back leaves until they start to deteriorate even further and turn yellow, and that's when you're going to cut them back. So I'll show you an example of that just in a second of how you would cut it once it turns yellow. But again, you're only cutting the stems first, so it's 2 rounds of clippings. You cut the stems first, and then you leave them like this, and then you're going to come back around and cut them when they turn yellow. So let me show you a yellow example. So here we have a few examples of some pretty spent bulbs that are ready to trim. Now I usually wait until all of my plants turn yellow, so you'll see I have no stems left in this bed of any flowers. I've already cut them all back, and even though there's some yellow here and it looks not great, I will wait until all of it becomes yellow and then I'll cut them back, because I like to do it just 2 times. If you keep going, you could keep cleaning it up as you go. Totally dealer's choice. It's just more work, so I wait and do it only 2 times. So the first trim I do just as I showed you, and then the second trim I do when most or all of this is pretty yellow, or as you can see, this dead one right here is more pink tone. And you'll also see in this bed that I have annuals here. It is middle of May. It is just starting to get warm. We are past our frost zone, or very close to past our frost zone, but the temperature is looking beautiful. So these annuals will start to take off with the warmer weather. So we'll really see them filling in this space just in time for me to cut back all of this dead, and the bed will be looking really good. So let me show you this, and then that's it. So here we have a tulip that, as you can see, there was a stem here. I cut it back already, and now we just have this dead growth. And what I like to do is I don't actually cut the whole thing. So I like to cut and leave, I don't know, maybe 2 inches above the ground, and just leave a little bit of tulip there. That way, when I plant further annuals, I know exactly where my tulips are, or even perennials, I know where my tulips are. So that'll dry out, but you'll still see a little stalk there for the next couple months. So I would do that across the board on all these dead ones. Let me show you. Here's another dead one. Cut these leaves off about 2 inches, clear them out. And that's it. So that is it. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the link below. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye.